Well, tell me about that.
Well, there's a Gillies Ball that's held here every year, and the Gillies Ball is for all the estate staff here, and we've been to many of them. And I've worn it as a necklace, not as a tiara. The Queen always wears a tiara, but
Platinum-set tiaras emerged in the 1880s, after Cartier in Paris worked out how to mount brilliant cut diamonds in the white metal, earlier silver-on-gold settings tarnished against the hair. By 1900, when this one was made, the form was at its high point, driven by the Edwardian court before the First World War effectively ended it as a category of new commission.
And I remember the hairdresser coming to fix it on very securely, because with the veil, it had to be really firmly in place.
And what did it feel like wearing this?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. You feel like a fairy princess, you know. Absolutely, just it's the icing on the cake. My daughter also wore it at her wedding.
Did you?
And my
Yes,
younger daughter wore it at her wedding.
Lovely.
Yes.
It was made in about 1900, so have you had it in the family since then?
We're not absolutely certain, but certainly since the 20s, when my husband's great-grandfather, we believe, bought it.
Well, of course, this is made of platinum, and you've got these delicate little intricate setting, which is called a mill grain setting.
Oh, right.
Which is very indicative of
Yes.
the 1900s.
Yes.
And of course, with the history, with the occasion, and we all love occasions,
Yes.
to put a
The mill grain edging the appraiser names is a row of microscopic beads pressed along each platinum collet, a French finishing technique that became standard in jewellery workshops by the late 1890s and is one of the surest ways to date a piece to that decade. After the First World War, machine-set settings took over and mill grain effectively disappears from production work.
Well, you know, I can see this being very sought after because tiaras are still very popular.
Yes.
With the right auction, I would say this could be in excess of £60,000.
Really? We might have to up the insurance. It lives in the bank when it's not being used.
Good,
It's
good.
the only safe place, isn't it?
Well, enjoy wearing it,
Thank
and
you.
for the future
Thank you.
generations.
Yeah.
As
Family tiara pieces from this exact decade, Edwardian, platinum, documented bridal use, sit in the most sought-after slice of the antique tiara market. Christie's and Sotheby's hold dedicated jewellery sales in London and Geneva each year where comparable pieces regularly cross six figures. Provenance of any kind, even the domestic kind heard here, lifts the room.
That,
yes.
yeah, that's extraordinary to see that. So lovely piercing, almost like a pear drop, with that acanthus leading up to what is the hangover, the vestiges of what was known as a Shepherd's Crook arm terminal. Lovely sort of rococo scroll and this nice shape here. That's wonderful. I mean,
Thomas Chippendale published his Director in 1754, the first English furniture pattern book aimed at provincial makers. 3 editions appeared in the next 8 years, and chairs in this idiom were soon being turned out from Bath to Newcastle, almost always signed by no one. Most of what the trade calls Chippendale was never near his London workshop.
Well, my husband, when he was a child, remember his grandfather sitting in this chair, and apparently belonged to his own grandfather before him. And then eventually we found it 3 years ago, after my father-in-law died, in a room, all in bits practically, you know, and...
really?
It was only saved because my grandfather was, I suppose, a peasant farmer in a sense, had no interest in material things, and when he was dying, he asked my mother to look after his chair. And so I had a soft spot for it, so I kept the bits.
Right. Thank heavens you've saved it, because 20, 30, 40 years ago it might have been thrown away, the
Yes.
chair. Nobody would have bothered to keep it. But it's such a good-looking chair. I mean, this sort of thing it's often called, there's one famous name, obviously, the sort of person who made this. Mr. Chippendale, Thomas Chippendale. But in fact, this style is really much, or quite a little bit earlier. It predates Chippendale. There's somebody called de la Cour who did a book of engravings, of designs, which you could buy, very much as Chippendale did in the 50s, but in the 1740s, designs of a similar nature. And then other makers in England would buy those designs, somebody called Copeland, later on Inson Mayhew, Robert Manwaring. They're all names which one has to use alongside Chippendale. It's not all exclusively Chippendale's own work. It does pose a problem because it's been sympathetic to restore, but not professional restore. And that makes it difficult for me to value.
The shepherd's crook arm the appraiser mentions is older than Chippendale by half a century. It descends from a French design tradition of the 1690s associated with Daniel Marot, who worked as William III's court designer. Many of the patterns the director popularized had been circulating in earlier French and Dutch sources for 50 years.
It's been sympathetic to restore, but not professional restore. And that makes it difficult for me to value. I'm sure you realise that chairs like this in original condition are worth a lot of money. You know, £10,000 each, £15,000 each, in fact more for pairs of chairs like this. I think you've got to insure it for £6,500, £7,500, something like that. Even in its present state. Because it's all there.
Yes.
It's all there. It's a genuine chair, and you know, the more I looked at it, the more I realised that those are the original pieces, which makes all the difference to being replacement pieces. Thank heavens you saved it.
Documented chairs from Chippendale's own workshop are vanishingly rare and cross six figures whenever they appear at Sotheby's or Christie's. For the much larger body of unsigned cabinet shop work in this style, the Furniture History Society estimates only a tiny fraction of any original set survives. Most were broken up, used for firewood, or sympathetically restored beyond recognition in the Victorian period. This video is brought to you by Velco, the Antique Identifier app. Snap a photo of any item and Velco gives you an instant identification and a value estimate from its database of millions of antiques and collectibles. Available free on the App Store and Google Play. Now back to the appraisals.
Stories of murders and mysteries, and you discovered an Agatha Christie mystery all of your own.
I did. I saw an ad, I think it was on a BBC website, for an auction that was taking place down at Greenway, her holiday home down in Devon. And I just thought, I want something that had belonged to Agatha Christie.
Is that because you're a big fan?
Yes, I love Poirot and I would like to be Miss...
Agatha Christie died in January 1976. Her estate passed largely to her grandson Matthew Pritchard, who has guarded it carefully since, which is why pieces from her personal jewellery only began surfacing publicly decades later. The diamond buckle here is mid-Victorian, between 1860 and 1875, and the cushion-cut diamond on the ring is from the same generation.
So it sat in my house for probably 12 months without me opening it, because I thought fate will take a hand one day. And in the end, fate was actually a builder with a crowbar who opened it and couldn't really believe that what was in there. There was a diamond ring.
Oh, this diamond ring?
A diamond ring.
Beautiful.
And a diamond brooch.
What did you buy the strong box for? Or buy the whole box for?
Well, I'd put a bid in of £100 and I didn't realise that I also had to pay £20 to the auction house, so I was a bit miffed. It actually cost me more than £100. But
you know, I think you're probably up on the deal now. You've had these valued, I know, so how much is this worth?
About £3,000.
Gosh. And the brooch?
Oh, a modest £7,000.
Now, I'm assuming you're wearing the jewellery today, what, for our benefit, but do you wear it generally?
No, only when I'm watching Poirot.
And then what did you decide to do once we'd left and the cameras had stopped rolling?
Well, the gold sovereigns that were also in there, I sold some of those for a new bathroom.
Excellent.
And the other ones I had for quite a while, and then I thought it's time to sell them. So in October, I went to Bonhams and they went to auction there.
All right, well, let's see what happened.
Now on to the lot 169, the 19th century.
Bonhams in Knightsbridge runs fine jewellery sales several times a year, and prices for celebrity provenance pieces routinely lift by a factor of 3 to 5 over their non-provenance equivalents. The hammer price of £175,000 on the ring places it firmly in the top decile of single jewellery lots at that house.
The 19th century diamond buckle brooch, where should we start? £6,000? £6,000 is already bid. Going on. Thank you. 6,500, 7,000, 18,000, 19,000, 20,000. With me at £20,000. 22,000 and I'm out. £22,000. Any further advance now at £22,000. Are we all done? Sold, 22,000. On to lot 170, the diamond ring, 3,200. 3,500, 3,800, 4,000, 15,000. Thank you, sir. 16,500, why not? £16,500 in the room. Are we all done? 17,000, just as I was about to bring the hammer down. It's £17,000. There it is on the internet. 17,500, £17,500. I will sell now. Sold, 17,500.
Well, that was quite a sale, wasn't it? You must have been thrilled.
Delighted, absolutely delighted.
So you bought a new bathroom with some of the gold sovereigns?
Yes.
What about the jewellery? How did that change your life?
Well, it's something I've wanted for donkey's years, and that's a narrow boat. So I have every intention of calling it the good ship Agatha as I sail along the canals and wherever.
Christie's celebrity estate sales: Marilyn Monroe in 1999, Audrey Hepburn in 2017, Elizabeth Taylor in 2011 for over $115 million, show what celebrity provenance is now worth at auction. Agatha Christie sits in that company. The owner here used the proceeds to commission a narrow boat she calls the good ship Agatha.
Talk, I think this one would have an amazing story to tell. Who did it belong to?
This jacket belonged to JFK, the President of the United States.
How do we know that?
There was a Swedish aristocrat who had a daughter called Gunilla von Post, and he sent her to...
Kennedy was a senator from Massachusetts when he met Gilliver Sheldon on the French Riviera. He had married Jacqueline Bouvier in September 1953, 2 years earlier, so what the owner alludes to was an extramarital encounter on what biographer Robert Dallek later called Kennedy's habitual European summer circuit before he ran for president.
Ended 1955, 1956. She then obviously kept it, never gave it back. So what was the history following then?
Well, some of her belongings and some of her love letters from JFK was sold recently in America, and some of his goods were left in the apartment, and she had 3 children and a nephew. The nephew was given some of the items, and his best friend is my father, and gave it to him.
A lot of information there. Let's take it one step at a time, because I'm slightly confused.
Okay.
So, this beautiful young girl, aged 21, 22.
Yes.
Down in the south of France,
yes,
on holiday.
Yes.
Happens to bump into JFK.
Yes.
They fall in love.
Yes.
He then disappears back to the States. 2 or 3 weeks later, he marries.
Yes.
Jacqueline.
Yes.
Without the provenance, you're not going to get the dollar signs.
No.
So, and that seems a very strong link, although quite a long one, from JFK's back to my back, if I can take it home with me now.
I mean, the other thing is that when I did the research on it, I thought, well, let's look at some of the details. And if it wasn't the right size, I would have then said, well, hang on a minute, but it is a 44, and he was a 44.
44.
Yeah.
In America, or anywhere worldwide, you know, it is an iconic piece. He was a cool dude, wasn't he?
He was.
Kennedy's suits were tailored on the East Coast through the 1950s. H. Harris and Sons of New York took over his account during the presidency itself. Size 44 long matches Kennedy's documented build at the time, 6 foot tall, in the 170s in pounds. The size match the appraiser tests for is the closest thing to a physical fingerprint that survives on a piece of menswear.
I think probably at auction, should you decide to sell, somewhere along the line of between maybe 200,000 and 300,000 pounds.
That is a lot of money.
The story is everything.
Yes.
Please write it down.
Yes.
Put it in the pocket.
Yes.
I feel confident the market will pay that price.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Kennedy memorabilia is one of the very few 20th century memorabilia categories that has held its prices through every downturn since the assassination in 1963. Jacqueline's auction at Sotheby's in 1996 raised over $34 million on a low estimate of $4 million. Kennedy items have been benchmarked against that sale ever since.
Council. Yes, I'm Dr. John Mahoney, who's the Lord Mayor this year. You've brought along a piece of jewellery to show me, and you've brought along a photograph of a lady putting a piece of jewellery on the neck of this ladies.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about
Well,
who these people are.
Nancy Astor was the first woman to take a seat in the British House of Commons, elected for Plymouth Sutton in November 1919. Her American jewellery was acquired in New York from houses like Tiffany and Black Star and Frost, the leading high-class jewellers of the period. She kept the most personal pieces with her at Cliveden, the Astor family house in Buckinghamshire.
The thing about Lady Astor was she was an extraordinary woman. She came across from the United States. She married Waldorf Astor.
Yes.
And she was an extremely wealthy woman. He was an extremely wealthy man. And he presented her with very significant jewellery indeed.
Yes.
She was known for her generosity, but mostly in Plymouth, she was known for her extraordinary loyalty to Plymouth City itself.
Yes, I mean, he became the MP. She followed him when he inherited the peerage. She was the MP for 26 years. He was Lord Mayor throughout the war years and was largely instrumental in kick-starting the redevelopment of the city in many ways.
Yes. Okay, shall we now present it?
This is the interesting bit. Yes.
There we are. You know, on the Antiques Roadshow we see everything, but rarely do I get presented with something that is quite so spectacular as this diamond necklace. It's not just a diamond necklace, it's like a diamond skipping rope. It's huge. It's nearly 4 foot long. It's also with a pair of little drops that will be worn on the ears. Very subtle, very pretty. Yes. I think that this is a pre-First World War platinum diamond and sapphire necklace that was bought second-hand. I think this necklace was from a high-class American jeweller. Usually this kind of style is French. It's got no marks. I think it's American, 1910. Now the feature about this necklace, and I'm almost loath to remove it from its house here because it's so beautifully presented, but I will tell you that it breaks down into no less than 6 separate components. And this was another feature of jewellery of that period, that you could wear it as one long necklace or break it down into a series of shorter bracelets that could be worn with a shorter necklace. And there's this extension piece at the back here, and then to augment it, to supplement it, you've got the drops for the ears. Right, shall we talk?
The necklace breaks into 6 components, each independently wearable as a bracelet or shorter strand, a versatility characteristic of American Edwardian work, where wealthy patrons routinely commission pieces that could be redeployed across multiple looks in a single evening. Tiffany under chief designer Paulding Farnham, whose tenure ran into the early 1900s, was the leading exponent.
Shall we talk a bit about value?
Okay, that would be very interesting.
I cannot stress more that provenance is crucial. You have absolutely cast factual provenance for this piece, and if a piece of jewellery like this came up for auction, the international interest for it would be universal. Not only because it's a beautiful piece of jewellery, but it was owned by one of the most famous women who lived in this country and who was American as well. So the American market appeal would be fantastic too. What's it insured for?
I gather about 300,000.
£300,000.
Yes,
right.
I think.
Well, I'll tell you, I think it would sell for probably at least £300,000 to £400,000, at least. And I think, bearing in mind that provenance can make a huge difference, this has to be worth for insurance at least £500,000 to £600,000. It is well above the most expensive and important piece of jewellery that I've ever had to film on the Antiques.
Cliveden was given to the National Trust in 1942, but Nancy Astor kept her personal jewellery, which passed down the family after her death in 1964. Major Astor jewels have made 7-figure sums at Sotheby's and Christie's auctions in recent decades. At a £600,000 insurance valuation, this necklace is the single most expensive piece of jewellery ever filmed on Antiques Roadshow. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next. And there are plenty more incredible appraisals waiting for you on the channel. Go check them out.